used to watch her come in and out of her apartment, didn't you?
Yeah. No one has seen her since Saturday. I haven't seen anything.
Something is wrong with this man.
One word answers, dazed, confused.
How can you remember a statute and you can't remember what you did 2 days ago?
You can feel it just watching him. The detective can feel it. Everyone in that room can feel it. There's nothing specific they can point to, nothing they can write down and hand to a judge. It's just something is off. Something is very, very off.
June 30th, 2011, it's going to be a missing person. The missing person is Lauren Giddings.
A few hours ago, this same man was talking, answering every question, volunteering details, acting exactly like a concerned neighbor should act when a young woman goes missing from this building.
Yeah, Lauren was my neighbor. We're just trying to find out where she is at this point. No one has seen her since Saturday. The last time anyone heard from her was an email that she sent out, and no one's heard from her since.
And now he's sitting there like the lights went out inside him. One word answers, dead eyes, nothing. What nobody in that room knows yet is that the answer to every question they're asking is sitting right across the table from them.
She was a person who had lots of friends. She was very much well-liked. She was a runner. She was an excellent student.
Before we get into any of this, I want you to understand who Lauren Giddings was, because this is her story first. Everything else comes after. Lauren was 27 years old. She grew up in Maryland, worked her way through college, and then packed up her life and moved to Macon, Georgia, to attend Mercer University School of Law. By May of 2011, she had done it. She graduated, diploma in hand, a law career sitting right there on the other side of one final obstacle, the bar exam. She was studying, running, keeping to her routine like the disciplined, focused person everyone who knew her understood her to be. Talk to anyone who knew Lauren and they say the same things. Sharp, kind, the type of person who actually stops and listens when she asks how you're doing. She had a packed social life, close friends, a running habit that had her out on the sidewalks around her apartment building on a very regular and very predictable schedule. She was, by every measure, a person who had done everything right.
Lauren Giddings was from Maryland and went to college and then law school. She had graduated in May and began studying for the bar.
The apartment complex where she lived was right near the law school. Mostly law students. Small enough that you recognized your neighbor's car, nodded at the same faces in the stairwell, knew each other's schedules without trying to. The kind of place where an absence gets noticed fast. On June 30th, 2011, people started noticing Lauren's absence.
We had received a call, friends and family, neighbors, that were worried that they hadn't seen her in the last few days.
The calls came in separately at first, then all at once. Friends who hadn't heard from her in days, family members who couldn't even get her on the phone, neighbors who hadn't seen her come and go like usual, and every single person said the same thing. This isn't like Lauren. She wouldn't just disappear without telling someone. That's not who she is. Police were called. A missing persons investigation was opened.
The morning that we went up there, we were able to gain access to her apartment. Her car was there, her keys were there at the apartment, her pocketbook was there, her cell phone was there, her laptop was there.
When officers got to Lauren's apartment, what they found made the situation immediately more serious. Her car was outside, her keys were inside, her phone, her laptop, her purse, everything a person needs to function in the world was exactly where she left it. Lauren herself was not. No signs of forced entry. Whoever had been inside that apartment either had a key or had been let in by someone Lauren trusted. Those were the only two options. and investigators knew what that meant.
You were in the graduating class with Lauren
Right.
Giddings, and you knew her, right?
Yeah.
And y'all live in the same apartment complex.
Mm-hmm. She and I would end up together a lot, simply because of we were going to the same spot after class.
Just walking together?
Yeah, just walking together.
In the early hours of a missing persons case, you talk to everyone. Every person connected to Lauren becomes a potential source of information. Every detail, no matter how small, gets logged. It's slow, methodical work, but it's the foundation everything else gets built on.
I'm asking you for your help.
Yes, sir.
This is your girlfriend.
I understand.
Okay. Because we can't find her. There's people telling me this relationship is on the rocks or not a good relationship.
When I felt the pressure of the commitment, I just kind of backed off. But that's what I've done all my life.
Violent towards her?
No, sir.
Lauren's boyfriend was interviewed. He described their last night together, said she'd come home with him and was gone by morning. He mentioned some tension in the relationship, but nothing violent. He was consistent throughout. He was cooperative. He was visibly worried. Investigators moved on.
Do you have a key to her apartment, or did you know where she hides the key?
I knew where she hides the key.
And did you go inside her apartment?
Yes, last night.
And did everything appear to be undisturbed last night?
Yes.
Classmates and study partners gave versions of the same answer. Lauren had been focused on bar prep, keeping her schedule, running her routes. Nothing alarming, nothing pointing anywhere useful.
When was the last time you've actually physically seen her?
It would be early Saturday morning. We went out to the bar, and she came back to my boyfriend's place to stay for the evening.
Did you see Lauren when you woke up that morning?
No.
And then, investigators knocked on the door of apartment 4.
With me is her next door neighbor who lives in apartment 4. Can I get your last name?
McDaniel. Stephen McDaniel.
They lived next to each other in the same apartment complex. They also attended the same law school.
Stephen McDaniel answered immediately. He was 26, a fellow Mercer Law School graduate. He and Lauren had been neighbors for the better part of a year. And he was, to put it plainly, everything you could want when you knock on someone's door during a missing persons investigation.
When was the last time you think you seen Lauren?
It was either last week or the week before that. I was coming back from bar prep and I was driving back and I saw her going out to run.
He talked. He engaged. He gave specific detail about the last time he saw Lauren. He described their relationship clearly. Same school, same student org, sometimes walking in the same direction after class just because they both were heading home. Friendly acquaintances, nothing unusual.
Is there anything that you could tell me today or add to your statement that could help me locate Lauren?
I can't think of anything. I mean, we looked around to see if there was a note or if there was anything, but there was just nothing that we could find to try and figure out where she was.
Investigators thanked him and kept moving through the building. But something stayed behind after that conversation. Something small, almost easy to miss. McDaniel had mentioned almost in passing that he had entered other residents' apartment without permission, that he had taken things from those units, specifically condoms, from another resident's apartment. Now, pause on that for a second. That's not a normal thing to say to investigators. That's not normal behavior. And when authorities processed everything they had gathered, that detail just kept sitting there. They decided McDaniel needed to come back in.
He was arrested and charged with burglary because during the initial investigation, he talked about going into other people's apartments and had taken some things like condoms, and that gave him a reason to hold on to him.
He was brought back in, and what they saw when he came back is what nobody in that room was ready for.
I need to know about this girl right here. You know her?
Yes.
Does she live next door to you?
Yes.
When's the last time you seen her?
2 or 3 weeks ago.
The man who walked back into the interrogation room was not the same man who had been there earlier. Something had switched off.
One-word answers, dazed, confused, sort of flipping that switch from being, very wordy, very animated, very upbeat in his answers to being kind of catatonic.
Investigators described it later as watching someone vacate themselves. The lights going out behind a person's eyes while their body stays in the chair. Where Daniel had been speaking in full, detailed sentences, he was now giving them one word, two at most. Yes, no, I don't know. Delivered flat, no emotion, no inflection. Not even the basic appearance of someone trying to look cooperative.
Just tell me what happened, brother.
I don't know.
Do you even care that no one can find her?
Yes.
They told him Lauren was still missing, that her family was desperate, that any detail could make the difference. He gave them nothing.
Didn't really offer a lot of information on his own.
I was talking to people that he works with and everything. They talk about how he's very talkative. Stephen, they say you're so talkative, buddy, that you're always so friendly. You stop in and say hello and you talk. Why is it that everything that we get from you is yes, no, or I don't know?
People who knew McDaniel at Mercer described a completely different person. Talkative, friendly, the kind of student who stopped people in the hallways just to have a conversation. Always had something to say. The distance between that person and the figure sitting motionless in that chair was not subtle. It was wide enough to fall into.
Everyone was actually very cooperative. I think they began to zero in on Stephen, one, because of the interview that was conducted, and two, initially he would not allow a search of his apartment.
And then, he refused to let them search his apartment. Think about that. A neighbor who had presented himself as friendly and deeply concerned, refusing a search request in the middle of an active missing persons investigation. That's a signal. That's a loud signal.
You're acting like you don't know what's going on. Why are you shutting down? Why are you not talking to me?
I don't know.
The behavioral collapse alone wasn't evidence. It wasn't a confession, but it was a direction. And in an investigation that hadn't found a clear one yet, a direction mattered enormously.
How often do you take a bath?
A couple times a week.
Just a couple?
When I get sweaty.
He sort of existed on the margins or the fringes. People thought he was strange.
What, do you just stay in the house all day?
Yes.
I mean, what do you do all day in a house?
Play video games.
By yourself?
Yes.
The case was about to get a whole lot worse.
Myself and some of the other investigators kept noticing just kind of a foul odor. One of our investigators opened the trash can. Of course, it really got strong. He felt the bag down in the trash can. That's when he discovered what was a human torso.
It started with a smell. Officers who had been working around the apartment complex for several days started noticing it independently of one another.
We responded to a missing person call. It was turned over to detectives. They discovered a dead body. The body was dismembered. We got the DNA results back. There was a missing person.
Something faint at first, easy to rationalize away, but growing more persistent every time you walked through a certain part of the building. The kind of smell that people with years in law enforcement recognize even before their brain finishes processing it.
My first thought was that's somebody's daughter that is no longer with us, and it kind of breaks your heart to realize that.
One investigator tracked it to the communal trash area. When the lid of one of those garbage cans came up, the missing persons investigation was over. Inside the bag was a human torso.
You know there was a body found in the trash can next to the apartments.
Yes.
Who would do something to somebody and throw them in a trash can?
I don't know.
This is probably a community dumpster, and it's probably taken out once or twice a week. And I think maybe the person ran out of time, put this in that trash, and figured it would be taken out before anyone would notice.
DNA confirmed what investigators had already started to fear. The torso belonged to Lauren Giddings. She hadn't disappeared, she had been murdered. Her body had been dismembered, and whoever had placed her remains in that trash can had been calculating on one thing: the regular garbage collection schedule.
Who do you think it points to?
I don't know.
complete stranger is going to come to her apartment and kill her. They're not going to take the time to dismember her and throw her in the trash can.
Trash in that area was collected once or twice a week.
When's the last time you've been to Kroger in Beaconsfield?
I don't remember.
When's the last time you were at Walmart?
I don't remember.
Has it been a long time? Can you even give me that much?
No.
He was not forthcoming with trying to help. So sometimes you then want to focus on those that are not forthcoming.
Whoever did this had done the math. They had considered the timing. They had trusted the routine garbage collection would erase the evidence before anyone thought to open a lid. That was the plan. That was the whole thing.
We found several weapons to be bladed weapons, firearms at Stephen McDaniel's apartment.
How many guns did you have in your apartment?
3.
And then you had that samurai sword?
Yes.
Did you have any other knives in the house?
Yes.
We also found some child pornography on one of the jump drives. It was probably one of the hardest things to see in my law enforcement career.
The plan had failed. The torso was found, and now, for the first time, the full weight of what investigators were dealing with was completely out in the open. This was a homicide investigation now.
Why? There's a reason why. Were you molested as a child?
No.
When investigators finally got inside Stephen McDaniel's apartment, what they found confirmed that they were dealing with something far more dangerous than a reclusive neighbor. The weapons collection alone was startling. Multiple firearms, a samurai sword, additional bladed weapons. For a law student living alone in the modest apartment complex, the sheer volume of it was hard to explain away. But the weapons weren't the most disturbing thing in that apartment. On one of the jump drives seized from his belongings, investigators found child pornography. The officers who processed the material described it as some of the most difficult evidence of their careers. It pointed to a dimension of McDaniel that extended far beyond anything that had been visible on the surface.
What do I need to tell her family?
I don't know.
That's what you want me to tell her mother and her father, is that you don't know.
I don't know.
And then there was the video.
You smell like you've been cleaning up, like you've been using cleaner to clean up. You've been using some kind of cleaner to clean up your apartment, hadn't you?
No.
He did have a scratch on his chest right below his sternum that night that he told me was a spider bite. Well, it didn't look like a spider bite to me.
Not security footage. Not something found externally. A recording McDaniel had made himself. He had rigged a camera to a pole and positioned it specifically to capture footage through Lauren Giddings' window.
He was stalking her. We know that he probably had some kind of an obsession with her.
The video showed him watching her, tracking her movements, her routines, the daily patterns of her life inside her own home. This was not a single moment of bad judgment. This was deliberate, sustained, systematic. This was obsession documented.
You used to watch her come in and out of her apartment, didn't you?
No.
Didn't you just tell me that y'all were friends?
Yes.
But you didn't pay attention when she came in and out?
No.
Stephen, you're lying. Now you're lying.
Classmates reported that at some point, Lauren had gently turned down a romantic advance from McDaniel. She had chosen to keep things friendly, to treat him like a neighbor and nothing more. She had been kind to him, she had continued to exist, just one wall away from him, with absolutely no idea what was happening on the other side of it. She extended grace to someone she had no reason not to trust. He didn't return it. Investigators also found a pair of Lauren's underwear in his possession.
We found a pair of her underwear in his apartment that did have DNA on it. That was her DNA.
Today you told an investigator that you were worried about us possibly finding blood in your apartment. Now, why would you be worried about that?
We all looked in Lauren's apartment.
Did you see blood?
No.
Her DNA confirmed it. He had been inside her apartment before the night she died. He had taken something of hers and kept it.
His interrogation didn't really have much of a good cop, bad cop situation. They came in hot. They came in pretty strong for him.
Where's that little girl, Stephen?
I don't know.
Stephen, you know. Where?
I don't know.
Stephen. You're gonna look at this right here, this little girl right here, and you're gonna say you don't know? I know you know.
I don't.
They made it very clear that he was their suspect and they weren't here to kind of broach any relationship with him.
You went into her apartment, Stephen. And you hurt that girl.
No, I didn't.
You did, buddy. Why won't you tell me, Stephen?
I didn't do it.
I'm gonna take this from me. You don't deserve to look at it. I appreciate all your cooperation tonight, okay?
Okay.
Every piece of evidence taken alone was alarming. Taken together, they painted the picture of a man who had been building towards something for a very long time.
Not that you're sorry that she's missing. Not that you've been trying to help me all day find her, but you just wanted me to tell her I don't know.
I don't know.
Are you a sorry piece of that you want me to tell her that? You got your ass on that news and stood out there and gave a media report that her mother saw about her missing daughter. And you want me to sit there and tell them that you don't know?
This was a crime scene that the media really descended on. And so there were a lot of news stations, news channels there, interviewed people, and they came across Stephen McDaniel.
You're all over the news. You sure stood out there and ran your mouth to the news media. But now you're gonna get out here and you don't know. You know. You're just a sorry piece of that don't give a right?
No.
Forensic investigators turned their attention to Lauren's bathroom. When luminol was applied to Lauren's bathroom, every surface in that small enclosed space, the reaction was immediate and extensive. Someone had cleaned that bathroom with real effort and obvious intent. But luminol doesn't negotiate with incomplete. Here's what you need to know about luminol. It reacts to trace amounts of blood even after a surface has been scrubbed clean. Bleach does not stop it. Time does not stop it.
I didn't do anything.
Too much evidence. Too much evidence. You're not gonna win.
The bathtub had something else. Small cuts and striations in the enamel, marks consistent with bladed tools being used against a hard surface.
You could see some marks on the tub itself that were cuts into little striations into the enamel. It gave you a good indication that that's probably where she was dismembered.
You know that blood was there, and that's why you're worried about it.
No.
Then came the hacksaw.
A hacksaw was found in the maintenance shed, which was locked off with a key that we later found in Stephen McDaniel's apartment.
Found in a locked maintenance shed, the key was in Stephen McDaniel's apartment. The hacksaw tested positive for Lauren's blood, tissue, and DNA. The original packaging was also in his apartment. The receipt traced the purchase to a nearby Walmart. He had bought it before any of this happened, with intent.
That hacksaw that we found did have Lauren's DNA, blood, and tissue on that. We also found packaging where it was bought, and we found receipts where it was bought from Walmart. It was the same package in Stephen McDaniel's apartment.
We know what you did to her.
I didn't do anything.
Well, that's what you say. But we know different. So you're either way. There'll be no more video games. This is the end.
I didn't do anything.
We know you killed her. We know you put her body in the trash can. So you can sit there with that dumb look on your face. But it's over.
Investigators brought McDaniel back in. Direct, no patience for evasion. His responses stayed exactly the same. Flat effect. Denials delivered without any force behind them, not the kind that carries the weight of the truth. Here was a man who had just finished law school, someone capable of memorizing complex legal statutes, and yet he couldn't account for what he had been doing 2 days prior.
She was a breath of sunshine. She was a lot of laughter, but she was serious. And she was Stephen McDaniel's next-door neighbor and classmate, and she was kind to him.
The detail that kept agitating the room was the media interview. McDaniel had stepped in front of the cameras and spoken about Lauren's disappearance with composed, concerned delivery. Lauren's mother had watched it. Every time investigators raised that, the temperance in the room went up.
In my opinion, I think what led to that was the video itself. His defense team, once they saw and knew about the video, they felt that that was maybe in Mr. McDaniel's best interest to make a plea on the case.
The case was headed to trial. It never got there. Once his defense team saw the surveillance footage, his own hands on that pole-mounted camera, the calculation changed immediately. A jury watching that footage would not be inferring anything. They would be watching him do it. McDaniel pleaded guilty, then wrote a detailed confession.
He did admit to cutting off her fingers and flushing them down the toilet because she had scratched him that night.
He said the rest of her body parts he had thrown in trash dumpsters around that area.
I think he tried to make it look like he gave her a fighting chance. He was able to get on top of her and choke her for 15 minutes. I don't see him having the physical strength to do anything for 15 minutes. I think he was trying to make himself look stronger than he was.
He had entered Lauren's apartment while she slept. Having studied her habits through the weeks of surveillance, Lauren woke up. He strangled her for approximately 15 minutes. He returned later with a hacksaw and dismembered her in the bathtub. He removed her fingers because she had scratched him during the struggle. The fingers were flushed. The remaining parts are distributed across multiple dumpsters. The torso timed to the trash collection schedule. The confession didn't read like a guilty conscience breaking. It read like a man describing logistics.
I'm just glad that we were able to solve the case, able to bring some closure and some justice to Lauren and her family, and put Mr. McDaniel where he needs to be so that he can't harm anyone else.
Thought you were smarter than everybody, but you f***ed up. Somebody always leaves something at a crime scene. You f***ed up.
He filed appeal after appeal. Court after court rejected them.
Yeah, guys, Stephen McDaniel's day in court here in Augusta got off to a rocky start and really never improved for his case. He spent the day trying to convince Augusta Judge John Flaith that his rights were violated in the pre-trial process and really throughout his time in the justice system. Specifically, he claimed that his legal team of Frank Hogue and Floyd Buford did not effectively represent him. The Judge Howard Sims, who presided over the case for a time, was not impartial, and that legal research McDaniels had done while in the Bibb County Jail had been improperly reviewed by the Macon District Attorney's Office. But Judge Flaith was not having it. He ruled against McDaniel, saying that he hadn't made a single convincing argument over 2 days of hearings. The ruling was a relief for Lauren's aunt, Kathy Mann, who said after what he did to Lauren, McDaniels never deserves to be free.
She was a breath of sunshine. She was a lot of laughter, but she was serious. And she was Stephen McDaniel's next-door neighbor and classmate, and she was kind to him.
This case sticks with me because of the proximity. He lived next door, walked to class alongside her. The most dangerous person in Lauren's world was the one she waved at in the parking lot. The one who knew exactly when she came home from her runs.
Today, Stephen McDaniel entered a guilty plea to the murder of Lauren Giddings. His guilty plea provides finality to this case and assures justice that cannot be undone. Even more, the guilty plea gives Lauren's family and friends answers that they have wanted and that they deserve. My goal since taking over this case has always been to get justice for Lauren, her family, and the community. Today's sentence does all those things and more. Because of this guilty plea, Stephen McDaniel will never again be able to deny that he and he alone is responsible for Lauren Giddings' death.
He had reportedly discussed the concept of a perfect murder with classmates. He went into those interviews believing he was smarter than the process. He left the footage on a retrievable device, kept the shed key, kept the packaging, stood in front of cameras and performed grief for a woman he had killed hours before. He thought he had thought of everything. Lauren Giddings was a 27-year-old, a bar exam ahead of her, a legal career waiting to begin. No verdict restores that, but justice was delivered, because the evidence always finds its way back to the surface.
You told me about how you like to look at porn on the internet. You expressed to me that you're a virgin, correct?
Yes.
What happened to Lauren?
I don't know.
You like her, don't you?
She's my friend.
Did you ever think about having sex with her?
No.
Rest well, Lauren.